What's going on, family? It's your man Michael Jenkins, and we are back with another episode of All In Podcast. And today, um, we are going over a topic that I feel like is going to be my favorite topic to talk about, although it won't be long, most likely. But um, we're talking about expanding our horizon. Expanding our horizon. I think this is a very important topic for us as men to discuss and talk about. And so the last past maybe two, this might be probably about 2 weeks, maybe two or three. We missed about two or three episodes, but I went over this one time and it just wasn't good enough, right? I just wanted to give some excellence, but I was a bit too tired. I went and recorded maybe about twice, but it just wasn't good. Then I had surgery after that. So we had a little, gap in between, but we are back. Even though we really never left. But today we're going to be talking about expanding our horizon. And what that simply means is just, man, like going for more, trying something different, right? And I say that this is probably going to be my favorite episode because for me, I love trying new things. I love new experiences. So I feel like this episode is almost like an extension of myself and just, who I am just as a person, because I love just finding out more about what I like and what I want to try. And, something I just found out I'm interested in, or a new hobby, or whatever the case may be. And I think for many of us men, this will unlock a side of life that we never knew really existed. A lot of times when we get into a relationship or friendship, right, specifically with, women, right, a lot of times they begin to open up our mind to more things and trying different things and going a new way, right? Not saying just in general, like point blank period, because every man we know is different. But I find that a lot of times, men, we just stick to what we usually know. And then a lot of times we might meet a woman, or just let's just say you meet like a friend who's into different things and you start learning about different things. But I think for us men, we need to take the initiative in our lives to learn more about things we don't necessarily know about. And I think this is especially important for Black men, right? Especially for us that come from the hood, because all we see is usually all we know. A lot of times, some of us don't go farther than our environment, right? Some people go off to college, they go off to school and do different things. And that's great. Sometimes we go further in those avenues. But a lot of times when we think about like getting more life or more life experiences or living life to the fullest, we often think about the paths that are already charted for the most part, right? The three biggest things we really think about is basketball, football, and being a rapper, right? Or like producer, making beats or something like that. But those are three big avenues which we go down. And I really want to inspire men, but especially Black men, to chart a new path, expand your horizon, walk down some new territory, learn some new things in life, right? And so the way I got to this idea, this thought or concept, is because me, myself being younger, I was so different, right? Even though I was engulfed in the hood and my environment and the things I've learned and the way I acted was all shaped by that environment, I still had this deep down inside longing to understand more about life. Like when I was younger, I was into rock and jazz and just different things that were just seemed very interesting, but just weren't cool because we in the hood didn't do them. So they were known as like white people things and stuff like that, right? And so as I got older, I started to meet different people in my life who were into different things. And I started to think like, man, you like that thing? You used to do this, you played that sport, you had this interest, right? I met one young lady and she was really into like the oldies type music. And I can't exactly remember what it was, but she was really into like the oldies type music. And she liked a lot of different like eclectic, just, you know, things that most people wouldn't like. And I was like, you like that? And she was like, yeah. But she was somebody who was shaped by her environment, which being in the hood, you would think like, you're not into that, are you? It just kind of catch you by surprise, right? And even one of my ex-girlfriends, I remember one day, I don't know how we got to the conversation, but we got to the conversation about instruments, and she was telling me that she used to play the cello and that she loved it. And it caught me by surprise because me and my girlfriend, a lot of times we were going to parties and functions where we were drinking and smoking and turning up, and we were into just hood activities, that it kind of just threw me off. Not that I didn't think that these people could be into anything different outside of the norm of the hood, but it just kind of caught me off guard because I didn't really hear people express things about it. And so I was so surprised. I was like, "You used to play the cello?" She was like, "Yes, like when I was in like middle school or elementary school, something like that." She was like, "I used to play the cello." And I was like, "Wow, that's very interesting." I'm like, "Why did you stop playing the cello?" And she was like, "I don't know. It's just I played it in this school in this grade, and then after that, I just didn't play it again. I want to pick it back up." And so the culmination of those thoughts began to send me into this other thought or this other concept of how much treasure we have. It's funny because at the same time I'm talking about men, but it's like I'm also talking about even black men and people from urban communities, right? As black people, like there is so much to us that we have no idea what's deep down inside of us. Like at times I think like, man, there's a young guy on the streets who's living a street life, and he's the next best piano player since Beethoven. There's somebody out there who's a scammer or probably facing time in jail or just engulfed in the streets or whatever the case may be, in something that will result them no real results in life, and they're the next best tennis player, right? Or they're one of they could be one of the best upcoming jazz artists or something like that, right? And it's not to say that we always have to think in the arts, right? Like we don't have to discount the doctors and the lawyers. Like that's another thing too. Some men are out there, that they are so smart. They could be one of the best lawyers you could ever find. But there are just a lot of us that haven't been taught well. We don't apply ourselves, and we've just been so pulled by the things in our environment that it leads us in another direction other than the direction that we could possibly go. There are men out there with inventions, even if we're not talking about, black males from the hood, just all around the world. Some of you have witty inventions. Some of you are great lawyers, could be great doctors, could be great tennis players, could be great lacrosse players. Like there's so many different things. Great producers, great actors, great movie script directors. It's so much to do, and I think that a lot of times we don't discover enough. As men, we don't take the time to discover enough. And I know we've been taught that we have to get a job, get our money up, support our family, be able to pay for our living. And a man is supposed to have money and provide, and especially for himself. And I get that. But I think that we as men can definitely take out the time to explore more interests, more hobbies, and figure out, what is it that I am good at? What is it that I really like? What is it that I can explore that will really give life such a deeper meaning, right? Like for me, one example is I love to try new things, right? So, disclaimer, everybody doesn't have to like the same thing, right? Like I hate monotony, so I hate doing the same thing over and over and over again. I love trying new things, but that doesn't have to be you. But at the same time, you can still try new things that will, pique your interest, or things that will really excite you, right? Like living somewhere if you have the chance to. You lived in this state for your whole life, try going to a different state or go to a different, continent, or go to a different part of the world and see what life is like, right? Do those things and travel and figure out what more life has to offer, right? So there's so much in the world to experience it. and life is so full that you don't want to die full, right? So life is so full that you want to die empty. You want to get everything and get the best out of life. So for me, I love trying new things. And so here's what happens when you do more, you see more, and you try more. You become open minded. And I think it's very important for us to become open minded because often we close ourselves off to ideas and thoughts and we feel like, I'm gonna just do this thing this way and everything is just gonna stay the way that it is, but you never know how much you're missing out on. Right? And let's give some examples. Food. I think I was just kind of going into that. Like for me, I love trying new foods. When I was younger, I hated sushi. I did not like it. I tried different sushis and none of them were working. At one point in time, I had a brother tell me, bro, you got to try. I'm telling you, try the California shrimp roll. I didn't used to like sushi either, but when you try that'll start you off. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go in with an open mind. Let me try the California shrimp roll. And I had to prepare my mind to try it without the preconceived notion that I don't really like sushi. That joint be nasty. I said, I'm just going to try it. I'm going to be open-minded. I'm going to put my negative bias to the side because I didn't like the other sushi. Let me try to just see if I really like it without just keeping this thought of it's nasty, right? And when I tried it, that opened the door up to sushi for me. So then it gave me the courage to try some more sushi. I found other sushi I like. It was still some other sushi that I'm like, nah, that's not good. But I still found my way to trying new things, right? I always had my steak well done until a friend told me about medium well, medium. And I was like, yo, you bugging. I'm not eating red steak. Sooner or later, especially because my father he's a butcher. So he knows all about the different types of steaks and you know, the cuts and all of that type of stuff and the best way to eat your steak or your beef or chicken or anything like that. So, you know, he put me on game, she put me on game, and now I don't eat my steak well done. It is medium well, depending on where I go. Most of the times medium, right? But for a long time, I knocked it until I tried it. First time I tried it, I was like, it's a little strange. But sooner or later, when I got into it, I was like, I like this, right? You never know what might surprise you. Now I love eating steak. I liked steak before, but now I love eating steak, right? So you can try diving into different cultures, right? I have a friend, his name is Josh, and this man, he loves Asian culture. He loves it. He loves the language. He loves the food. He loves how they do things. He loves the culture within their, like just how Asian culture is. He loves anime. He loves all of that stuff, but you couldn't tell that off the back just looking at him. You couldn't tell. And so, you know, me, myself, I'm not going to lie. I don't know too much about Italian culture, but I can't wait to go to Italy. People that I know that have went to Italy told me that it's amazing. I want to go and try it and see it for myself. I love Italian food. I kind of love their culture a bit. And I'm really interested to see what Italy is going to be like. And so, listen, you got cooking classes, you got painting, you got pottery. Like there's so many things you can try. You might fall in love with cooking or learning how to cook. One thing for me is that I love cooking for other people. So it's exciting putting the food together, seeing how somebody's going to like it, seeing how well they enjoy the taste or the spices that I put together. Like, you know, I never did any culinary arts or anything, but I might try just for the excitement. Paint and pottery, like this is the stuff that I'm talking about. Some of us are great cooks. Some of us can be great at painting or different type of things, but you'll never know until you actually try. And a lot of times, especially in a black, in our culture, in the black neighborhoods, we deem everything as lame or corny or you know, that white people stuff or that weird stuff. But it's not until you try that you realize, like, yo, the hood is not the end all be all. A lot of times when I was younger, I was very lazy. I didn't want to travel 30 minutes from where I was at. I felt like that was like an hour away. But when it was something like a function or something I want to go to, that was different. But I didn't really step out of that territory, right? And I was a very different type of person. I'm going to go into that a bit in a second. And so try something like a museum. all museums are not the same. There's different museums, right? You might see some art that you might like. You might make some money one day. You might want to invest in paintings or invest in things from a museum or pieces, right? You never know. Like, you really have to find out who you are, not just what you know, but deep down inside of you. Because a lot of times we think we know, but there's so much more to pull out, but you'll never know. And it's okay if it turns out you don't like none of it, cool. You don't like any of it, it's cool. You might find something that I just like this thing. I don't like none of that other stuff. Some people, they don't care about traveling. They might like a whole bunch of things, but the way traveling move other people, it doesn't move you like that. And that's okay, but you just have to find your thing and figure out what is it that you can find interest in, right? So do something like go on a boat ride. Like, one thing I want to do this summer that I wanted to do last summer was I wanted to go to a polo game. And I couldn't really get to one because there was just too much going on. And I think it's only on 2 days specifically. I had work and I was tired, but it was a lot. But this year, I'm going to make a polo game. I don't know if I'm going to enjoy it, but I'm definitely going to try to make it to a polo game this summer. It's just something different. Be around a different atmosphere, different people, a different type of sport. I really plan to go to a good polo game this summer, and I pray that I really enjoy it. And I want to have a lot of fun, right? You never know who you might meet or the fun you might have. Go golfing, play lacrosse, right? These type of sports you never heard of before. I went to a camp. It's called Lake Delaware Boys Camp when I was younger. Went there for about 4 or 5 years, and it's in the Catskills in New York. And that camp exposed me to so much, right? We had different counselors, different tactical staff from all over the world. We had staff from Sweden. We had Dutch from London. We had staff from Italy, South America. They were all over. We had people that were British. We had people from Spain. Like, anywhere you can think of, we had them. Poland. I don't know if I said all of that, but I don't know why I'm having a brain freeze right now with that. But the interesting thing was, we were in the Catskills in New York. And so in the Catskills, the weather is very different. At nighttime, it gets very cold. And then in the morning, as the day progresses, in the summer, it gets hot. So the nighttime is very cold, but then midday day gets very hot. And then when it rains, like, some days it's overcast, rainy, but then it can pour down, right? And that was just very interesting. We slept in like these big tents and we did campouts in the woods and stuff like that. But two of the biggest things that I really loved about it was we had culture days. So, for example, if we had staff from Poland, like we had somebody who was Polish, we had Polish Day, we had Sweden Day, we had British Day, we had why can't I think of these places right now? We had like a Russian Day, things like that. And so every day we would play their sports and we would eat their foods, right? So we would have their breakfast, we'll have their lunch, and have for dinner, we'll play their songs, we'll play their sports. And so we play all the different type of sports. Like we played soccer, cricket, lacrosse, football, basketball, swimming. We play rugby, right? We played all of these different type of sports, and it was such a great experience for me being young, even though my mind was really more focused on being in the hood and, just being on the block with my boys and having fun in the summer. But it was memories that I wouldn't trade for anything. And it really opened my mind up, right? Here's another one: kayaking, water sports, do some things outdoors, go hiking, go camping. I think they do have some sites where you can actually camp at the site. It's like a big site in some places where you could camp out, where multiple people could camp out. It's kind of spaced out. That's a very interesting thing. So, man, I know a lot of times we might be like, man, I ain't doing that. I ain't trying all that. That's crazy. Just try it. You have nothing to lose. You have everything to gain in reality. If anything, if you don't like it, you had the experience. That's the main thing, right? And so for us, I want us to become more engaged with life. please, if you do anything, just become more engaged with life, right? Because there are some men that are lost, they are lonely, and they are very bored, right? And so the reason why a lot of times you're lost, lonely, bored, because you're not engaged with life the way you need to, right? A lot of times we feel lonely, but that's because you want to fill a void, right? You're trying to figure out, what can I do to feel better? You need to go deeper in life, right? Like I always say, the number one thing that's going to lead you to meaning and purpose is Jesus Christ. But after that, there's so much more to experience in life with learning and growing and just really taking in life, right? And engaging and not being disengaged and, oh, I'm bored. What should I do? Find something to do. Go. One thing that I love to do is go for runs, right? I love working out, but it's something about going for a run that will change your life. You go for a run, I promise you, you'll really enjoy it. And one thing that I had to learn was, because I ran track, I would run as fast as I can. But in reality, you just want to really pace yourself and not have to sprint this mile as fast as you can. Fastest I ran a mile was about 6 minutes. But then I learned, like, how are people running 2, 3, 4 miles? Oh, because they're pacing themselves. They're not running as fast. And so that's something that you can learn. But let's be more engaged with life, right? Let's meet new people. Let's network. Let's connect with other men doing different types of things. You never know who you might meet. Got to get out of that comfort zone with being afraid of meeting people and thinking that you have to be a lone wolf, right? So something that I have recently joined that I love so much, like I love it, is tennis. And it sparked a love I never knew I would have, right? Like when I first went out there with me and my bro E, shout out to you, Evans. When we played, we went out there trying to whack the ball. We thought we was Venus and Serena's, like we was going crazy. But we learned pretty quickly that a little small light hit goes a long way. And there were people around us that quickly became our community. When they seen us playing, they would say, you need help with this? You want to play some rounds with me? Let me show you how you do this. And I will always just go play with people, ask questions. And they would say, it's an addictive game. Sooner or later, it is. I got addicted. I love playing it. Not addicted in a bad way, but I love really like playing tennis, going out and having fun. And it's something that I really enjoy. And I'm looking forward to getting into tournaments or playing with other people or even other sports. It really is something that I enjoy for the summer. Like it's if you have a chance, try it, go at it, stay at it, have patience with yourself. Me and my boy, we played so much in 1 month that we thought we'd been playing for like 3-4 months. Come to find out we weren't playing that long, but we made so much progress because we were playing and we played well, right? And so you never know what is going to spark a love for you. I hope I'm not missing anything because I feel like there's so many other ideas I have in my head, but I think that's everything. And something that really inspired me too was I seen these young black men going to spots, trying new things together. And I love that. If anything, I'm going to try to find a name. I can't think of them, but they went to a Pilates class together. They went to a salsa class together. They did something else I can't remember, but they all tried these different things that many of us men, we don't try. And I love how they were just young black men living life, having fun, being themselves, and just the instructors really just enjoyed their presence and their fun and them having time. And I think that's what we really need to inspire our young men to do. And even for us, older or younger, to really just try something new and bring some newness and some freshness and fun to your life. Just try it. But I really enjoyed seeing them. Pilates was cool because Pilates is something that's kind of a craze right now. Like a lot of people are into, Pilates and things like that. But to see them doing salsa, I know that a part of them is, a part of them for a little small moment, it might be funny, but they're actually enjoying themselves. Like they're learning and they're doing it all together. It's not just one guy, two guys. It's like maybe 4 or 5 of them or 6 of them, but they're all having fun together. They're bringing their personalities, who they are, our culture. They're bringing everything to it, and they're just having fun, enjoying life. But they don't know the deposit that they're putting into their life right now. They have no idea how they're investing in their mind right now, because that's going to connect them or open up other doors, and learn different things, right? And so another thing that I want to not explore, but another thing that I want to encourage men to do is network. When you go to these places, network, and you can go to also other places to network, like business things or whatever you might be into, but also network. Like you might really find your next friend or your next best friend or a brother for life at these places. You never know who will become a lifelong friend. And a lot of us men, we want to be lone wolf. We want to live a lonely life sometimes to just thug it out. But you never know who you will meet when you go to these places. So, brothers, stop being scared. I understand. You're going through some pain. You might be going through it or feeling it. You know, you might be dealing with some depression or stress, and it might just be, you know, some of you might have social anxiety or social awkwardness, but you got to find a way to come out of that. And that's something we'll talk about too, because we can't just keep going along with that and just being okay with it. And, you know, you might be awkward as a person, and it might be a cool awkwardness or whatever the case may be. But like, don't let that cripple you from like living a full life out in the world and out in society. And so, you know, a lot of us men think that, like I said, we're bored. But truth be told, we're very understimulated by depth. Like a lot of times we just kind of stay surface middle. We just kind of stay simple or just stay here. Let's take it up a whole nother notch. You know, let's take it up a whole nother notch. Whatever it might be for you. If you like fashion, try a different style. Try to see how other cultures switch up their techniques when it comes to styling. Right? Like try something new. Try improv class. Try, you know, working with a camera. Try photography. Try videography. Try speaking. Try something. Try building. Like there's so much in life for you to learn. Try farming. Try planning. Buy a plant. Try something. Try reading. If you always read self-help, try a fiction book. Never know, but try something that you might like, right? Like action, or I don't know, but just try something, right? But I think that, you know, this is something that will really, really, really take us to depths that we don't even understand, because a lot of us are going through it, but we're like in a cave or in a corner, and, you know, we want to run away from life, but we really need to, you know, run towards the challenge, man. We really need to run towards the challenge and learn what it is to like really, you know, live life. And it's funny because I think I want to take maybe like a dancing class or ballroom dancing or something like that, something nice and something elegant. But man, we have to get out of we got to get out of our comfort zone, man. We got to step out of our routines and see what else life has to offer, right? It's just, I just truly think that it's so much, right? Some of you are going to be great authors or great writers or great screenwriters. Like there's so much. And I really hope that a man sees this and is very inspired to go out and try something new. They're going to figure something out. Quick story before we close out. You guys, of course, most likely may not know, but I am/was an actor. And I came from the theater and off-Broadway scene, and being on camera too. And I remember I had to take this class when I was in college, and it was like script writing. I hated it because although I'm a good writer, I wasn't thinking about writing scripts. I'm like, I'm good in front of the camera, behind the camera, but I don't write scripts. That's not my thing. And I got this teacher who, she worked in Hollywood. She worked with Morgan Freeman. She worked with Quentin Tarantino. Like she worked with all these people. And she took her craft very seriously. She got awards and all this type of stuff. And I was mad because she wanted us to take this so serious. And I was like, lady, this is a class. Nobody's really trying to be a script. Like, what are we doing? And so, long story short, I was like, you know what? Let me get into this so I could pass this class. I got into the writing. And around this time, I think Creed came out. And so it was my own spin on Creed. And when I wrote this script, she was like, this is pretty good. This is good. I was like, oh wow, I'm really building something here. So as we go on continuously building the script, she was like, Michael, you really are a talented writer. Like you're very, very talented. And I was intrigued, like, really? Because when you're good at something, you just flowing, you going. And she was like, yeah, you really have an amazing skill set. You can write well. And I was like, oh, okay. And so later down the line, as I was about to graduate, the class was, ending. She said, this script is phenomenal. Class is about to end. The semester is about to end, but I want to meet with you after to go over your script. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay. So after school was over, I went to go and meet her. We went to a cafe. She worked with me on my script. And she was just saying, like, I think that your script is amazing. Like your name is going to be lights. Like you're going to be great. You know what I'm saying? All of this type of stuff. Like she was like, she was just like, you are like, she was just really talking about my work. And I always knew I could write, but just not in that vein. And so that gave me a different type of confidence and outlook. Like, man, when I read my story, I'm like, this is actually really good. Now she had some corrections, of course, because this was my first time, but I was like, y'all can actually write a script, write a story, write a book. And so, that took me to a place where it's like, okay, I love movies. So even if I can't necessarily write a movie and if I want to become a movie writer, script writer, director, whatever, I could at least write something and sell it to somebody. And it's a good idea. Right. And so, but I had to be exposed to that first. If I was never exposed to that, I would have never known what I could do and how good I was. And so let that be an encouragement to you guys, man. Just, don't allow your limitations or your life or any stress to keep you from experiencing life or being lazy. Go for more, do more, see more, try more. Life is about learning, getting up, trying again, trying something different, learning about yourself, learning something new, and just figuring things out. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this. And I feel way better now because I feel like I got to express the way I wanted to, even though it's probably some other stuff on my mind, but that's all right. And I really hope that you guys find different ways to like live your life more in a greater way. And so with that being said, I'm your host, Michael Jenkins, and that's all for today. Peace.